Hello everybody, welcome back to Leashed On a Podcast, where I'm leashed onto a certain topic for 15 minutes or more. Now, today I just wanted to talk about purpose. Like, I don't like to really deeply ponder on like what the meaning of life is, or like freak out about the fact that we're all gonna die. But like the days that I do really sit down and think about it, like it kind of freaks me out, because it's one of those things you really have to put a lot of thought into. So when I think of my purpose, I just got done listening to Emma Chamberlain's podcast episode where she was like talking about finding yourself again. And I think that is one of the hardest things to give advice on telling somebody else on how to find themselves. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do today, is give you the best advice I can give on how to find yourself, because, you can just Google, oh, how do I find myself again? And there's so many different things online that you'll see talking about, do this to find yourself, do that to find yourself. But in reality, the answer is like within you. Nobody else can tell you how to be you. Like Google and really just me can help you, guide you in that direction on how to find yourself, but it's never going to be like, oh, you need to do 3 steps to find yourself. No, it's not as simple as that. So really, I think being able to really, what it means find yourself is just finding your purpose in life. And I think the main examples I could think of someone's purpose in life, like their divine destiny, because AP psychology talks about it, that there's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or hold on, let me Google that before I'm wrong, but it's pretty much just pretty sure it's Maslow's. No, that's his hierarchy of needs. Yeah. So it's like once you reach a certain level, you can then like go to the next level, but you can't go to the next level until you've succeeded on the first level. So obviously, like, the first level is definitely like your physiological needs, like having a shelter, having food, having water, clothing, being able to be fertile, those type of things, like kind of our survival nature things. Obviously, if you don't have a home, your purpose in life is to find a home in that certain moment. If you don't have clothes or food or water, like, you can't think clearly, so because all of your thought, all of your energy is going to, how can I find food? That's why, like, little trigger warning here, when people when people are anorexic, their body kind of just goes into a like panic mode. It's like, oh my gosh, I need to save every ounce of food I eat because I don't know when's the next time I'm gonna get food. So it's like those type of people can tend to be stuck on the bottom level of the hierarchy because they're not getting enough nutrients and enough energy to be able to almost know that they're secure in, their bodies. Like, their body isn't reaching homeostasis, it's not able to regulate things properly, so it's like freaking out, and it's like, I can't do anything else until I have food in my system, until homeostasis is met, etc. But if you can sit here and comfortably say, yeah, I got food, water, shelter, whatever, you've already met the first level on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The second level comes safety needs, where it's health, property, resources, personal security, employment. That would be like having a job, having insurance, actually paying for a home or renting a home or having a car, like kind of those type of needs. Again, once you've met, like, okay, I'm eating, okay, I got clothes, okay, I'm, protected from outside weather. Now it's like, how do I make income? How do I get from point A to point B? Am I safe? Am I in a safe place? And then, so again, all of your thoughts and your only purpose in life is to be safe. Your only purpose in life at that moment is to get a job. That's why when you look at 14 to 16-year-olds, those who have parents that pressure them that they need to get jobs and stuff, their only purpose or think that they're good at in life is to get a job. So they'll do everything to get a job. And then there's some people that can push them off because, again, they have that security by their parents, that financial security. So, or, maybe that's an at-home battle at the house is financial, like a financial situation. So again, their only purpose in that life, or in that moment of their life, is to get money. How can I get money? And sometimes they hustle for money. They do quick gigs. They do part-time jobs, pick up full-time jobs, maybe drop out of school and go into the trades. But nonetheless, they're still trying to meet that hierarchy of needs. Now we go into the next level, where it's love and belonging, which that's friendship, intimacy, family, a sense of connection, community. So again, when you're at this level, you're probably going to try to pick up relationships, pick up friends, all this, all that. And some people, like the flaws I see when people get stuck into that stage in life and they see that as their only purpose, they become people pleasers. And in the end game, again, coming into AP psychology, you learn 3 parts of the ego. There's the id, the ego, and the superego. Your id is pretty much all of your own impulses, your temptation, lust, quick dopamine feeds, like kind of just, like a little kid. Like that's pretty much what the id is just like a little kid, like just nagging, like the little kid version of you just nagging at you and wanting something. I mean, this is Freud's kind of thing, and Freud, we can't really credit him for a lot of things, but for this sake, in this episode, we will be talking about him. And so the id is pretty much like what comes from birth, and it's like impulse, like again, it's just your desires. I'm double checking myself, so I'm not lying to you guys, but it's pretty much just like your impulses. You're born with these things, your drives, etc., etc. But that's just your id. It's kind of just like the unconscious source of all that. So when we go back to the hierarchy of needs, most people get stuck there and they become people pleasers. And when you become people pleasers, that's actually kind of just like boosting to almost your ego. Like, because going back to Freud, the ego would be, and sometimes the id is definitely driven by like aggression, and it's like kind of one of the more darker parts of our personality, so some people don't really like to talk about the id. But when you look into the ego is really like kind of who you are, like the personality you present yourself. When people say, oh, you have a big ego, that kind of really makes no sense in a psychological sense, because it's like, yeah, I'm big me, big P. I mean, what else can I say? So it's like when people say, oh, you have such a big ego, they're really kind of just meaning that you have more of an arrogant personality, and it's really showing, and that's who you are. That's what they can see as a character trait of you or whatnot. And so the superego is pretty much like your moral compass, what you believe to be right or wrong, the really kind of dream you want to be, because that's always just kind of in the back of your head. Now, when you go back to Maslow's needs, again, you go into love and belonging. This is usually like kind of your teenager years, where you're finding people, finding connections, dating people, finding what you like, finding what you don't like, finding groups, etc., etc. I mean, I kind of talk about it all in my friendship episode. But when you get onto that level, you have to meet your community and know what you click with, the people that you could share in common with. And then once you have, felt very comfortable in a community, you then move on to your esteem, which is really how you see yourself, where your self-esteem lays, respect, status, recognition, strength, freedom. Now, it's kind of one of those things that's kind of left up to interpretation, because when you think self-esteem, you think of yourself. And then when you look at the hierarchy of needs, it's like, why do I have to put other people before myself? And a beautiful thing that I heard from Emma Chamberlain's podcast is that I can definitely agree with her. I'm not a big person who's like, oh, fuck everybody else and choose yourself. Like, I try to go down like the kind of like self-choosing first mentalities, and those mentalities are good and all when you just got hurt, because it's like fuck everybody, but those mentalities aren't exactly the best way to go about life, because society, the world, the way the world goes, you're really on a lot better off with people than by yourself. Humans are social animals. We are not meant to be locked up in a room. You see the social experiments where people lock themselves up into their room. You can find so many articles reading onto kids who are homeschooled and don't get that much social interaction, and the impacts it has on their personality and the way they go about life. Really, we're not meant to be alone. We're really not. But we do spend a lot of time alone. So where I go to say that you need to be comfortable with yourself, it's not that you have to distance yourself from people or freak everybody else or cut all your friends off and go live in a cliff in a mountain. No, it's more just like, the times that you are alone, you have to be okay with that. You have to accept that. And I feel like that the words accept and okay get so mixed into like the advice giving world or the like growing and self-healing world that people tend to forget what accepting and being okay with something even means. To accept something is that you see it for what it is, and it's okay. Like, it's like, okay, I'm going to be by myself this weekend. That means I'm not going to make any plans. I'm not going to go out and party. I'm not going to go call up a friend. I'm going to sit by myself and listen to my body's needs. If that's going up and doing yoga, we're going up and doing yoga alone, because you have to be okay with yourself. And this is like me time. So that's what I mean. And so I'm definitely in all like, you need to be okay with yourself and be happy with who you are and yourself and build a you that you're proud of, to then accompany and help others. Because if you spend so much time working on yourself and not put any time into your community or your friends or your family or others, it's like, how is your work being able to be shown off? Like, who are you working for? And I understand it's for you, but it's like, you can spend so much time working on you and having nobody, that it's like, you know, how can I speak my strengths? How can I speak my accomplishments? How can I put myself out there, especially in a world that is so society driven, that it's like, you can't, because you already shut everybody out. So instead of doing that and shutting everybody out, instead, like, work on yourself in a period of time. And there's nothing wrong with devoting time for yourself and sacrificing, you know, a little bit of social time for yourself. But at the end, you also got to know to help others. So when I try to, you know, when I hear people give advice about purpose, most of the purpose is other people. You know, you have a purpose to help others, do voluntary work, start a family, you know, all that relies back to people. So it's like, you got to be able to know within yourself what your personal purpose is. Because like I mentioned in a couple episodes before, some people's purpose in their life is to teach others lessons. And it's sad because, you know, they have to hurt so many people and be the villain of a lot of people's stories. But it's like, it's almost like that's what their purpose was. And when you think about this more in an NPC standpoint, you know, you play a video game, there's certain characters that don't meet you in the end, but they're a part of your journey and they help you. And it's really, it gets hard to explain things like this because I'm very empathetic and I sit with a lot of people's feelings. You know, somebody could tell me about a deep story and it's like the way that they can express themselves, it feels like I was almost there with them. And I really do like being around people. I recharge my social battery around people. I'm very extroverted. I like to talk to people. I'm people all day. But when it comes to times that I have to invest into myself and do, you know, put me first at certain times, it's like a different thing. Like, I'm not exactly used to it. And so when I think of, like, when I get to moments and I'm by myself, you know, I do tend to miss people, but then I realize, oh, well, certain people were supposed to come into my life for like a period. And there's certain people who stay a lifetime. And you know, they meet me at the end of my journey and they'll be with me throughout the whole journey and the whole game. And we'll make it to the end credits together. And then there's some people that like I just meet for periods, and let that be like an encounter I have at work where I meet a person and they teach me to work on my customer service, or they teach me maybe something new about my own work that I did not know. Or let it be that I meet somebody once and we have a great story and we talk. Like, there's been multiple times I've interacted with customers and I'm like, I really wish I could see them again, and they end up coming from like a different state far away and they're just stopping by to grab some coffee, and I'm like, dang, I'm never gonna see them again. So it's like, that's again what makes it so beautiful about people and interactions, is that the more you go out there and talk to people, the more you can have resonating memories with faces you may never see again. And I think people tend to get so confused when they're like, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Like, I feel like some people get confused and build a mentality that's like, you know, you kind of have to feel sorry for everybody or keep everybody in your life, or like, you know, just one sorry can fix things. But it's like, some people, you have to keep note of how they treated you to be able to show that you even grew. Because how are you supposed to be grown and healed and have been a better version of who you were prior if you're still letting the same stuff slide, if you're still around the same environment, if you're still doing the same bad habits that version of you was doing? It's like, where's really the change? And the way that my mindset works, it's genuinely like a, you fuck me over, what benefit do I have in still keeping you around? Whether that's stealing from me, whether that's stealing big things like money or my personal items, or breaking my personal items, or, you know, lacking trust or going behind my back. Like, I know I'm young and those type of things happen a lot more frequently, but it's like, me personally, I'm not the person to accept it so easily. That's why people who genuinely have like really left scars on me, it's like, yeah, we can catch up and you can give me all the closure I really need to hear and may even want to hear. But it's like, at the end of the day, I can't keep going on my journey with you because you already proved to me that you're not someone who's meant to stay on the cart. You were just meant to be the one to tank up the gas or be the one that causes an event that makes me go on another path. But nonetheless, you're not staying on the cart. And that's why, I said earlier, like, yeah, I want to see them eat. Like, if they don't stay on the cart, that doesn't mean I want them to be fed to the wolves. But it's just like, I don't want to take care of them on my cart either because they screwed me over. And I guess there's just different types of toleration levels of screwing over, because I know I've messed up in other people and I haven't heard from them before. And there's also some people I know that I messed up with them. And yet, we can rekindle. Like I've said in my friendship episodes, there's people in my life to this day that we've had fallouts and we've argued before. But at the end of the day, it's like we know that we're supposed to be on the cart together. Whether it's I'm on their cart or they're on my cart, we're still sharing a cart. And stuff like that. And I think so many people get bogged down into like yeah, they hurt me, but like I believe in change. Like, don't get me wrong, I believe in change too, but it's like, babes, there's some people that are gonna change and be able to show their growth on others, but it doesn't need to be you. And that doesn't mean that you're not worth it or whatever. It just means that you're worth better than what they can offer. And I think people get so bogged down on, oh my gosh, it's not them. Let it go, the fact that it's not them, and be able to be open to somebody else other than them. And I guess it gets a little rough because there was been times, I've gone out of relationships like, oh my gosh, I really wish it was them. Why couldn't they have changed? I do deserve better, but why couldn't they be better? And it's like, you answer your own question when you talk like that. You do deserve better, and that better will come. It's just, you have to let go of the things that don't serve you to make room for the things that do. And you cannot do that if you keep allowing those that hurt you. You cannot do that if you keep allowing ungenuine people in your life and people who give you half-assed apologies just to make themselves look good, because you go tell somebody, oh yeah, well, so-and-so apologized, but I'm not going to let them back in. People may look at you on their own perspective and be like, oh, well, they apologized, you should let them back in. You know the situation a lot better than they ever will. If it hurt you and you're not letting it slide and not letting them back in, who do you owe an apology to? Nobody. You're doing what's best for you. And again, that's where I just say, be a version of yourself today that tomorrow will be proud of. So, with that being said, I'll leave it there, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see y'all later.